think this beef is what, like 25 years in, something like that. So Ja Rule, he responded to 50 Cent. We all remember 50 Cent trolling the death and the passing of Irv Gotti, right? Let's see what Rule had to say.
When I see the things that he does, and he did the Irv smoking, I'm like,
how did you feel about that? You saw it.
Of course, nobody likes all this goofy shit, but it's goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm not. Preem said it best. I spoke to Preem the other day. Preem has always got the right words and shit and the right things to say. Because I was hot. You know what I'm saying? I was hot. I was ready to go nuclear and shit. But I said, so I spoke to Preem anyway. And Preem said, he said, Rule. He said, here's what you got to understand about who we are and what we are. He said, we are masters of self-defense. And I said, I love that. I said, because I don't want to start trouble, make trouble with people. But if we got to get into it, make it, I'll fucking end it. I'll put it to where it go. I'll take it to the next. So that's why I'm like, you know what? That is the best description of what I am and who I am as a man that I could ever think about. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who we are as men. Mm-hmm. We're here to protect our family, protect our homes, defend our honor, our names, our reputation. That's what we're here. I'm not here to be a bully and bother people. That's not what I'm here to do. You know what I'm saying? But I am a master of self.
But in a way, you do have to understand why Fit feels the way he feels, though, right? When you think about everything that y'all been through.
I really don't.
Really? Yeah. Fighting, the shooting, the stabbing.
What shooting? We ain't got nothing to do with that.
Oh, well, never mind.
I know people like to say it.
Yeah.
That ain't got nothing to do with us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I know the reality of it all. You know what I'm saying? And that shit ain't got nothing to do with us. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's good for, people to play that when they want to play that and then play victim when they want to play victim. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I leave it all alone. I live a really, really cool life. I'm in a good space. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, sometimes you just got to remove yourself from the circus. And that's what I've chosen to do. And so that's why I've been being real quiet and cool and just enjoying my time and shit.
All I can say is shut up, Ja Rule. 50, finish your career.
All right, let's talk about Ja Rule first before we move over to 50 Cent. First and foremost, I want to say that was a very, very well handled response, okay? If you come up with somebody, you're talking about a person you consider family, a brother, a friend, you've had that much success with, you've made that much money with, you've toured the earth with, and that person passes away, and somebody that you don't even like this person is trolling your brother about him passing. Yeah, I wanted to go nuclear. Makes sense. I don't think I would have been able to control myself in the interview the way Ja Rule. I mean, if you know that question is coming, maybe you sit there, you say, listen, when by the time Charlamagne and Envy try to get, the big viral clip out of me asking me about 50 Cent to troll Irv Gotti, I'm going to handle it like this. I'm going to take an opportunity to, like he said, remove myself from the circus. He could have prepped himself because that question is coming. It's the hottest question to ask Ja Rule if you're going to interview him right now, right? But damn, like an emotional tie to losing somebody that's that close to you, I probably would have had to send more shots. And I think he did sneak in a shot there just simply by bringing up Preem. I think that's a shot. I mean, did he get a phone call from Preem saying, listen, man, we are masters of defense? Maybe not. I mean, possibly. I'm not going to call Ja Rule a liar, but just taking that to be a part of your answer to me is a shot within itself because saying Preem's name is extremely sensitive to 50 Cent. Even Preem's son being around BMF members was an issue, right? So you see how sensitive that name, and I think that was a knife little. And speaking of knife, here goes Charlamagne and Envy with they don't give a fuck about y'all, like we always say. So, the stabbings, the fights, and the shootings, right? The shootings. And Ja Rule caught that very, very sharply. He said, shooting, man, we ain't had nothing to do with that. So automatically right there, he obviously claimed the stabbing, right? But the shooting, no, we ain't had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Whether you believe they did or they didn't. And when I say they still includes Preem, right? And like I said, we got some more 50 Cent footage to even get into. But I think 50 Cent continues to go in an area that is very, very sensitive as far as managing himself as a man and closing out at least the Ja Rule piece. Just remember, people, throughout all of this 25 plus year beef, I'm talking about if Ja Rule and 50 Cent is in the same room, it should be active, right? They shouldn't be able to just look at each other and be like, hey, you're here and I'm here. No, it's too much that has happened. And neither one of them ever sued. I had to toss that grenade in there real quick, but you can't be upset at anything that Ja Rule just said here, man. Like, he really, really handled that well. You got to remember, Irv Gotti was a very respected person. Okay. Did he have a couple enemies? Who in the industry doesn't? Very, very respected person. A lot of celebrities reacted to his passing. And, I think a lot of celebrities even felt a way about what 50 Cent posted. I think very few came out and said anything, though. Maybe Boosie reacted to it, but not necessarily going at 50 from what I remember. Maybe one or two people said a couple things, but I'm talking about people with names that actually respect and felt sad by the news of Irv Gotti passing. Nobody came out and said nothing to 50 Cent. And that's a energy within itself that 50 Cent is creating. Let's bring that up here, as a matter of fact. Let's make sure the point is fully in everybody's face as we now move to 50 Cent. Okay. Let's put it back up there to remind everybody. This was 50 Cent smoking on the Irv Gotti pack with a tombstone next to him. This was like as soon as the news broke of Irv Gotti passing. And it wasn't even a sub. Like, okay, hookah, smoking on a pack. Tombstone, okay, that's Irv Gotti. No, this wasn't no subliminal. His caption that was on his page, I don't even know if it's still on his Instagram. It might be, for all I know. But the caption was smoking on that Irv pack. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't hide it, sub it, nothing. Now, when I initially reacted to that, I tried to be fair, and I went into the past, and we brought up past footage, past videos. We reminded everybody of their history, and we brought up even footage of the beef DVDs of when he was stabbed in his, I don't even need to say allegedly, when he was stabbed in the studio. We brought up the fake or the real, who knows, the alleged paperwork of Murder Inc. putting out that he was a snitch to tarnish his image. We brought up the reminder that his mother he believes his mother was killed by allegedly Preem and them. His mother. That's who he believed. That's what he believes. So we went down some of this stuff. You tried to kill my career. You tried to kill me. You possibly killed my mother. If I'm 50 Cent, it's fuck y'all for life. And if I post this, I have justifications. If I look in the mirror, I don't feel bad within my soul, because once again, y'all tried to kill my career. Y'all tried to kill me, and you possibly killed my mother. What? You lucky I'm not sending an army after y'all every chance I get. But let's leave that piece there. On the other side, there's another factor here. And this is where 50 Cent is having problems publicly, perception-wise, with people. This is why people are getting tired of 50 Cent. 50 Cent is 49 years old. Now, I'm not trying to say that your age and time in that respect can erase the loss of your mother, you getting shot, and y'all trying to get me out of the industry and all that. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to say, because I don't want to go through that shit and then have to look at the person that I think that did that shit, because you had to sit me down in jail too. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. But he's 49 years old. He's won the war. He's lost battles along the way, but he's won the war. I gotta take the big screen for this one. He obviously does not want to beef at that level anymore with these guys. And I'll be fair and put two reasons for that. One may be the beef is so public that there's no way that 50 doesn't get investigated or doesn't end up in jail if these guys start popping up dead or murder. You know what I'm saying? Like making ties to 50 Cent is going to be very, very sensitive. Like, oh shit, like I'm going to end up going through a process and possibly throwing my fucking freedom away, right? But at the same time, the man is powerful as shit. Money is power. Reach is power. There's a lot of layers between him and the streets. He get word right down to them corners in a split second and send somebody to off you. And all these years have passed. And they've only even been in the same room or place. What was it? Once on an airplane, Ja Rule and 50 Cent, right? So you would think to yourself, after all this time, nothing has happened to Ja Rule and nothing has happened to 50 Cent once it got to the music level. Nothing has happened. It's just been petty stuff. we hear that 50 Cent buys all the seats at Ja Rule's concert, or Ja Rule does an interview and he talks shit about 50 Cent. 50 Cent does a post that talks about this person dies. He posts up patrolling him or whatever. It's been that type of shit, right? So if you guys aren't trying to kill each other or hurt each other at this part in your life, that's when I say, yo, 50, you don't need to make this post. You could feel that way. You're justified for feeling that way, but you don't need to make this post. And it makes me feel like what 50 Cent is doing, whether he realizes it or not, he's becoming the villain all over again. Well, some would say that he's never left that, right? But he's becoming the villain all over again. How he came into the industry with that How to Rob. Now, all right, on the commercial side, How to Rob probably was the first thing that got a lot of our attention. Who the fuck is this guy dissing all of these big name rappers? Jay-Z, Nas, Missy Elliott, Timbaland, or like robbing them and hurt. Like, what is this? We all looked at it. The Manos of the world come and say that that's what my rumor song was about. I was following the 50 Cent blueprint, like trying to turn heads, and I end up dissing people like the Dipsets and Cam and all that. And that's why me and Jim Jones had beef, right? So problems come with that, but it works. Controversy sells. On the street side, yeah, songs like Ghetto Quran, okay? Depending on where you stand, to this day, some people would still say, that song is dry snitching. If you're in the hood and you some of these people and you talk about this person was getting this or this person was doing that and that person was a shooter, and 50 Cent puts out that song and he's from that area, you may not want to be named in a music song. These people are faceless at the time. We don't know these people at our level, just fans running around listening to music. And he puts them out there like this. And then some people believe that that was also the reason for his shooting. Was he shot because there was a separation of trying to push Ja Rule and he could possibly interfere with that, just get him out of here. It's music stuff and music business involved. Was he shot for that? Was he shot for Ghetto Quran? Was he shot because he just wouldn't allow Supreme, who was the top guy in the area, to overpower him? Right? What was he shot for that? Was he just out of line? Like all these different reasons that's there. Maybe 50 Cent doesn't even know 1000% the reason why he was shot. He probably heard a lot, seen a lot. He's the one in the middle of this shit. But the motives behind why we did it, sometimes only the shooters or the people that sent it know 1000% all the different reasons why, right? So I just feel like you go back to that era when we looked at 50 Cent and we fell in love with his movement because of that villain style. We love a Scarface. We love a Scarface, people. Scarface came over from Colombia, you know what I'm saying? And he was a terror. He got in and got his damn green card by offing somebody, right? A political figure. It's a murderer off rip, but we all rooted for Scarface. We root for the villain. That's just our culture, especially in this country. We root for the villain sometimes. But then you got this gap, like I said, where it stays on music, it stays on interviews, it stays at trolling. Neither one of you have tried to hurt each other for the last 20 years. Nothing has happened to either one of you for the last 20 years. You're about to turn your name. You're about to turn 50. Ja Rule's probably around similar age. Why become the bad guy again? And it's not just with Ja Rule, right? People think that he's overusing his power. That's another thing that people don't like. They don't like when you abuse your power. You could be the king. You could be the manager. You could be the boss. You could be the shot caller. But people don't like when you just flex your muscle too much. And him using his platform these days. I seen a post yesterday. Big Meech, he puts up a post. He's not talking in it. Big Meech doesn't talk too much. I actually respect that. He's not talking at all. He's just sitting there on camera and he's listening to a song. And whoever artist it is, whatever song it is, the lyrics of the song is show that paperwork, or whatever, however the melody goes, right? And it's an obvious troll to 50 Cent. It's an obvious troll to 50 Cent saying like, all this snitch shit that you did, right? I'm still here. I'm still standing. And you still haven't proven shit past allegations, past your platform and your voice, just making a bunch of average fans say, well, if 50 said it, then this must be true, right? People, I just said that the other day on my stream too. I said, yo, 50, we're not letting that go. I'm not. I'm not one of these casual people that just watch this and say, oh, 50 Cent, he's a millionaire, so I'm going to listen to everything he says. Fuck that. Hell no. You're on the clock, buddy. Where's this Tammy documentary? Where's this Tammy documentary? You didn't need to post that about Irv. I understand it. I ain't going to go backwards. I understand it. But he's turning into the villain at a point in his life and his career where he's not even about that shit to me. He's over here building movie studios. You know what I'm saying? Why do you need the whole world looking at you like, yo, you 50 years old and you just still on your villain bully shit like when we was 20 years old? You know what I'm saying? It's either go do something to Ja Rule and Irv and these guys, which obviously over the last 20 years, neither side wanted to do, which is beautiful. We're glad for that. I'm not encouraging the violence. Either go do something to these people or let it the fuck go or stop this bully shit at the age 50, man. Stop this shit and put out the fucking Tammy doc, right? Like 50 is starting to lose some of his credibility. I know that his reach and his voice is so strong and so powerful that he will always be 50. But people are starting to look at him and say, you want to go down now at this point in your career of being a troll? A successful troll? We don't not overlooking all the other power moves that you're making, but you want to be a troll? You want to be on your Instagram just trolling people every day? You want to just be messing with people every day, bullying people every day? There's going to be a lot of people that come out the woodwork and play around and troll and do all that if something ever happens to 50. Instead, he could have been a totally different presentation to people at this point in his career. He could have the whole hip hop world behind him because he's a success story. He's a survival story, right? He's put out epic, timeless pieces of art, right? He's still respected. He's still powerful. He's still growing his empire. He's about to cross that threshold into billionaire status. Let that be what you're about now. But who am I to tell somebody what to do and how to move? Now, as much as I just maybe created a vibe of, damn, 50, what are you doing? This right here actually might turn the tide in some people's eyes.
Why this guy was hired to shoot you 9 times?
Well, you was paid because someone, felt like that I would potentially do something to them if they kept going in the direction that they were going.
Where were you shot? Which part of the body? Where did the bullet?
I got shot in my hand. My thumb came out of my hand, my face.
Shot in the face?
Yeah.
Where did that come out?
Like the tooth.
Wow, oh my goodness, there's a hole there.
Where we come from, in the ghettos of America, it speaks to family. Kill or be killed, nigga. You understand? Only the strong survive. So he couldn't survive.
I dedicate this fight to my brother, Darabam, who died. I'll be there to see you. I love you with all my heart. It kind of changed my voice, too, and this is the voice that sells 8 million records, so I think everything happens for a reason.
50 Cent is it's me, it's 50 Cent, you know what I'm saying? It's a metaphor for change. I'm gonna make some changes. I'm gonna do it myself. I just gotta give him records that's undeniably hot.
Did you ever find out who did it?
Yeah, I knew who did it shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are now where?
Oh, the guy who actually shot me is dead.
On May 24, 2000, Curtis Jackson, who would later become known as 50 Cent, was attacked by a gunman outside of his grandmother's former home in South Jamaica, Queens. After getting into a friend's car, he was asked to return to the house to get some jewelry. Jackson returned to the backseat of the car, and only moments later,
I walked over here to sit in the actual vehicle that my friend was waiting for me in, and the car pulled up. On the side of us, the guy got out the passenger seat of that car, came around behind it, and shot through the actual car.
Where were you shot?
In my hands, my legs several times, like 5 times in my hands, and then in my legs, and then in my face.
His friend, who was also in the car during the shooting, also got hit with a bullet to the hand. With blood pouring all over the place, 50 was struggling to maintain consciousness and was immediately taken to the hospital. Thankfully, all the bullets that hit Jackson's body didn't damage any vital organs, and within days, medics managed to stabilize his condition. His facial wound resulted in a swollen tongue, the loss of wisdom tooth, and a slightly slurred voice. After spending 13 days in the hospital, 50 was released home to continue his rehabilitation there. While it took him almost half a year to fully recover from the incident, the only thought on 50's mind was revenge.
After he got hit, round around, man.
You see how Tony Yayo always does interviews saying, man, 50 Cent is crazy. 50's crazy. This is his brother. This is one of the closest people to him. 50's crazy. 50, wow. 50 crazy. Let's be clear. I do believe that the man lived a very, very traumatizing upbringing. Okay? From the shit that he went through, the shit that he's seen, the things that he was involved in. 100%. But I guess still what kills me and makes me have like some of those opinions that I said before we started this video is when we look at 50 Cent, he's so adaptive, right, to his surroundings. He's so smart. He's so cunning. He's sharp as well. So I feel like 50 Cent is the type of person where you can't keep him in a certain mental spot unless he wants to be there. That's what I'm getting at. You know, so it's weird, man. It's like part of me is like I justify his feelings and the way that he acts. But then there's another piece of it when you peer into him like, nah, he's enjoying the power and the trolling and the overstepping too much at a point where even he knows he doesn't need to do it. You know, it's weird as shit, man. It's weird.
Mac 10 by himself, you know, looking for niggas, looking for cream. It was real. I seen it with my own 2 eyes. I don't get on here. I don't lie about nothing. I tell the truth.
That's not even the most painful thing I went through was the actual shooting. The most pain I've been through was the confusion. Not knowing whether I'd be able to do that for a living after I made the decision to do that, because going back to the hood just wasn't an option. So then it kind of made you feel like the only thing that you could really do legitimately is find the source of the actual problem and just kill him.
But while 50 was roaming in the streets looking for his shooter, karma got to him first. Daryl Homo Baum, Mike Tyson's close friend and at one point also his bodyguard, was one of the main suspects responsible for the shooting. Baum was shot down only 3 weeks after the 50 Cent incident.
I dedicate this fight to my brother, Daryl Baum, who died. I'll be there to see you. I love you with all my heart. All praise be to my children. I love you. God, man, what?
Only a couple of days later, people already started to draw parallels between the two incidents, instigating that the killing of Baum was a retaliation for him shooting 50. But this wasn't the case, and the real reason for his death was later confirmed to be due to completely unrelated street business. While the shooting of Baum was never something of a mystery, it couldn't be said the same for 50. Despite it being one of the most legendary stories in hip-hop history, after more than 20 years, the question still remains the same. What was the reason behind 50 Cent's shooting? But to understand the full story, we first have to go back to 1975. Curtis Jackson III was born on July 6, 1975, in Queens, New York, and since day one, together with his mother, he had to fight in order to survive. His mother, Sabrina Jackson, gave birth to her first child when she was only 15 years old. As a single mother, she never saw Burger King or welfare as an option, and instead of working low-paying jobs, she turned to drug dealing. 50 hardly ever saw his mother as a toddler and spent most of his time with his grandparents, with Sabrina coming to see her baby once a week. But while time with his mother was already limited, nothing could prepare an 8-year-old Curtis for what was about to come next.
At that point, she started hustling to be able to provide for me at that point. And she got killed when I was like 8 years old.
So when you say hustling, she was involved with what? She was...
Yeah, selling drugs.
Selling drugs?
Yeah.
Okay. And she was killed as a result of that?
Yeah.
Where are your parents in all this?
My mom passed away. She got killed when I was like 8 years old.
Man.
And I never knew my father, so I grew up with my grandparents.
How'd your mother get killed?
Where was your father? Would he run off?
Yeah, I never knew him.
When she passed, my grandmother showed additional attention to me because when she looked at me, she see my mom's face on top of mine. That's the only one of our 9 children that died, so.
The only people left in 50's life were his grandparents, who did everything in order for him to grow up a good person.
If I had one person in the world that I could give everything that I have to, and I'd be comfortable with it, it'd be my grandmother. Because I know before she did anything, she'd think about me.
Right.
You know what I mean? My granddad, his heart is so giving that he'd give my money away.
From the age of 11, he started taking an interest in boxing and began going to the boxing gym up until the age of 14. While I wasn't killing time in school, I was sparring in the gym or selling crack on the strip. While he had a roof over his head, the family only lived off his granddad's salary, and while it taught him a lot of lessons early, they were still struggling financially.
As far as finance is concerned, there was no money because it was 9 kids. We didn't have much. Like, you know, I grew up with my grandparents. We was living on my grandfather's income. So he was real old-fashioned. He's representation of tradition for me. So he would just come and give my grandmother this check. And I never understood that. Growing up, I was like, "You just gonna give her the whole check?" He was like, "Yes." And then later, like as an adult, he'll tell me, he said, "You couldn't see it and you won't understand it because you was a baby." He said, "But when I gave your mama the check, it stopped her from looking at things I couldn't give her."
At only 12 years old, 50 was already dealing narcotics and guns, all while his grandparents thought he was in after-school programs. According to Jackson himself, I became 2 people. One was the hardcore drug dealer in the day and grandmother's baby by night.
Like, and then I had already came from the comforts of my mom hustling, having those things. And then the only people that I see have nice things were people from my mom's life.
I associated everything good with my mom. And when she went away, all the nice things went away. You know, and the only people that I seen that had things that spoke to the lifestyle that I had prior to her, you know, dying was people from that life. So I would see, you know, the nice cars, clothes, jewelry, different things, and they would appear to have everything.
from my perspective at that point. And it kind of led me into the same lifestyle that she was actually in. And I started hustling too, because they'd ask, like, what's the matter with your shoes? And not realize that there's no one there to buy those shoes anymore. Right. You know, and they buy you shoes the first time, and then when they get tired of feeding you fish, because after we eat the fish, we hungry again. They give you a paw.
He started cooking crack at his friend.
So y'all realize that I'm playing this because I want a bunch of y'all to leave this fucking stream today conflicted. Because, you know, you watch documentaries like this, they've changed the music, you know, they show the upbringing and the things he went through and how powerful his relationship meant to him between him and his mother. And then she's allegedly murdered by the same people that he's into it with still to this day. And then he posts the I'm smoking on an Irv Gotti pack. And you say, damn, I might post that too. Like, it's a balance, man. It's weird, man. Normally, I'm able to pick a side of the gate clear for myself. I mean, I don't know, man. It just spawned all the thoughts after seeing that Ja Rule interview. I just feel like Ja Rule handled that interview very well, and it makes us look back at 50 Cent and like, damn, man, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And then you got to go back into the past again and say, this might be what he's doing. It's like, fucking conflicted, man.
Friend's house, stashed it in his room, and then successfully sold it across the south side. I could break down a kilogram of cocaine into ounces, grams, or any combination of the two. That's how I learned my fractions and metric conversion to real-life applications. The young entrepreneur found a lot of success with it, making anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a day. Coming of age just in time for crack to hit the East Coast, 50 quickly moved up the ladder, learning the business from the street veterans before him. One of those successful veterans was Kenneth McGriff. Better known as Supreme, he was one of the biggest and most feared drug kingpins in Queens, the main leader of a Supreme team, a large crack dealing organization that dominated the South Jamaica scene throughout the 80s and 90s. The team consisted of around 200 members, with Supreme being the head of the organization. Apart from drug dealing, they were notorious for armed robberies, murder, and money laundering. A lot of people idolized and respected them, with very few showing no fear and standing their own ground. While a lot of people kept their heads down when talking to Supreme, Curtis didn't allow this to happen.
There's only 4 niggas that I know personally in Queens that wasn't scared of Preem. 50, E-Money Bags, Homo, and Big Nose Troy. Preem came to the block. 50 up there. Preem, dude, you know the old school shit. You know what 50 did? Yeah, my nigga.
Do it back, yeah.
Yeah, my nigga.
That's,
oh, you know what the block did?
Yeah, that's what
That's when I knew 50 didn't give a f. And that's when I knew Preem didn't like 50.
50's character seemed disrespectful to Supreme, and the tension between the two was slowly starting to flare up, way before 50 started doing music. Before coming up with the name 50 Cent, Curtis was better known as Boo Boo and did anything to show people that he was willing to stand up against anybody. Early boxing classes helped 50 to defend himself and stand his ground on the corner, but the need for a gun was inevitable. While he claims that he never shot anybody, during an interview with VH1, he stated that he indeed used it multiple times.
Like 50 was just a wild cat, like, 2 guns in that mother. Big boy Benz riding around, and he was 18 years old, so he could still go to high school 17 to pick a bitch up in the Benz, you know what I mean? So he been getting money. He was like a hero in my hood.
Like, I started hustling when I was like 12, but the older niggas already knew me, like, that's Sabrina little boy. So they allowed the opportunity for me to hustle early. Before I even got a shot at doing the rap, I bought a Land Cruiser, 18, by the time 19, I bought a 400 SE. I saw crack 100 miles an hour up the block, man.
While he managed to live 2 different lives for some time, eventually it caught up with him when 50 was in the 10th grade. As a way to hide crack pieces from his grandmother, he made a hole in a pair of gym shoes and used it as his hideout. Unfortunately, one day, he picked up the same gym shoes to wear to school by accident and was caught by metal detectors at Andrew Jackson High School. I was embarrassed that I got arrested like that. After I got arrested, I stopped hiding it. I was telling my grandmother openly, I sell drugs. While in multiple interviews, 50 never fails to mention that he never did drugs. As a punishment for the incident, the judge sent him to 2 months in rehab. When he got out, nothing changed, and soon he was arrested yet again for selling 4 vials of cocaine to an undercover police officer. And only 3 weeks after that, police searched his home and found 10 ounces of crack cocaine and a starting pistol. For this incident, at only 18 years old, he was sentenced to 3 to 9 years in prison. Luckily for him, he once again managed to dodge the lengthy sentence and only served 6 months in a boot camp and earned his GED. While bootcamp didn't change him drastically, it made him think about the future of his life. He understood that the chances were against him and that there was no future in drug dealing, plus he already had a son on the way, so he decided to shift his path and start writing music for a living.
So his mother was, got pregnant, and it kind of was like, I had to make a little small transition because I know I can't do that and provide for him and that scenario. So I tried to do something different.
Curtis began rapping in a friend's basement, where he used turntables to record over instrumentals until 1996, when he bumped into Jam Master Jay from Run DMC at an upscale hip-hop spot in Manhattan called Bentley's. 50 with a couple of his friends were cruising past the club in his 400 SC Mercedes-Benz, which not a lot of people had at the time, when suddenly Jam Master Jay ran up on his car and slapped the hood. 50 stopped and immediately jumped to assess the situation. When he opened his window, Jay understood that he had mistaken 50 with a friend of his, an NBA star Kenny Anderson, who also had the same car, and immediately apologized. Once 50's alarm subsided...
Rest in peace to Jam Master Jay. I want to see some other chapters that's in here. So you got the Jam Master Jay. Link up. Supreme joins Murder Inc. Irv Gotti signs Ja Rule. Troy robs Ja Rule. The beef beginning. 50 tries to test Ja Rule. Supreme talks to 50. Interesting. Your life's on the line. Nobody likes me. Yep. Then the songs start. The brawl in Atlanta. Ja loses his chain. 2 golden watches. Wow. Murder Inc. blocks 50 from the industry. Oh, wow. See, that's when I start talking. I'm going to go there real quick, too. We're going to watch that one. That's where some of the, when I say somebody tried to stop you from eating and stop your career, allegedly tried to kill you and allegedly killed your mother. But I want to go to that one because I think a lot of people say Supreme, 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 right? They don't necessarily think that Irv is like that close to, you know, the murder attempts on 50. Or maybe some people do. Some people, it's both. Some people feel like, yo, if you're with them and you're trying to push Ja Rule, which was a chapter that was before this, right? The getting rid of 50 Cent is beneficial, right? And that's why I put the whole Murder Inc. with Irv Gotti as the godfather and all the rappers around him. But the talk is, once again, that Irv Gotti and the rappers around him are endorsed and pushed by the street element behind them in the shadows, which was Supreme. Okay, so and hence even the Fed indictment that came their way, right? That they ended up beating. The meeting to squash the beat. 50 Cent doesn't show up. Chaz Slim Williams, and rest in peace to Chaz too. The stabbing in the Hit Factory recording studio. DJ files DJ files a repo. Murder Inc. Irv Gotti and Supreme publicly claims that 50 Cent, that's probably when they were saying that he had the snitch paperwork on him. Ghetto Quran leaks on the internet. 50's final nail in the coffin. Supreme orders Daryl Hamo to take out 50. Hamo shot me 2 weeks later. He got shot down. Now it's clear that I'm here for a reason because he got hit like I got hit, but I ain't breathing. And then Eminem. Now, let me go to this chapter real quick. And people, shout out to, this is from the Snurb channel. Shout out to them, man. Dope content, you know, because we're not going to watch the whole thing up here. You know, I want to stay pretty much to the Ja Rule and the Irv Gotti thing. But let's go find that chapter together. And then if anybody wants to watch this full thing, I showed you below where you can find it. All right, Murder Inc. blocks 50 from the music industry. Let me see that.
The tension between the two artists was as high as it had ever been. In retaliation for the music video, Ja Rule and the whole Murder Inc. started to blackball 50 from the industry by spreading lies.
50 was a genius because we could have signed with other deals, and Irv Gotti was trying to block us in the Universal system. So we had deals on the table, 2 million, but 50 was like, nah, Irv is going to block us because Ja Rule was still, you know, what would I be without you? The Cookie Monster was still on top a little bit, you know what I mean?
Other thing that I would probably tell a young DJ Irv is, let Atlantic Records sign 50 Cent. You know, because I blocked the nigga till he fell into M and Dre's lap.
Damn, are you serious?
Yeah, labels would call me, and I was so hot with, I was just the hottest thing.
I never saw
like,
this.
yo, if you fuck with him, I ain't fucking with you. And they were like, we ain't fucking with him, then, Gotti, forget it.
The beef was starting to affect both sides and attract unnecessary problems.
I never saw that. I never saw Irv Gotti on camera flat out saying, I'm over here blackballing 50 Cent. I never saw that.
Don't you? The Cookie Monster was still on top a little bit, you know what I mean?
Other thing that I would probably tell a young DJ Irv is, let Atlantic Records sign 50 Cent. You know, because I blocked the nigga till he fell into M and Dre's lap.
Damn, are you serious?
Yeah, labels would call me, and I was so hot with, I was just the hottest thing. So I'd be like, yo, if you fuck with him, I ain't fucking with you. And they'd be like, we ain't fucking with him then, Gotti, forget it.
The beef was starting to affect both sides and attract unnecessary problems. Supreme and Chaz, who were both business-oriented and didn't want beef to mess up the cash flow, decided to set up a meeting where the duo would have a conversation once again and put it all to an end. 50 disagreed with the idea and decided not to show up.
Duly note, we did try to eradicate this whole situation. We tried to, pull it together through the hood, because here we are, we figure, we're all street guys. So let's police ourselves. Let's call, the heads of whatever street ghettos and then, people that can bring us together, mutual people that could bring us together, and we'll sit down and we'll talk. We all showed up for the meeting. He never showed up for the meeting.
In response to 50 not wanting to end the beef, Chaz, better known as Slim, parted ways with him, along with other OGs, leaving him alone against the world. This kind of betrayal hurt 50, and years later, he even mentioned it in a song called Many Man.
Slim switch sides on me, let niggas ride on me. I thought we was cool, why you want me to die, homie?
On March 24, 2000, the duo bumped into each other once again, but this time in the Hit Factory recording studio. The Murder Inc. crew and 50 Cent, Yayo, DJ, and 2 other people were in the same building at the same time, but just on different floors. When Ja Rule got the news that 50 was there present, he convinced Irv, Chris, and Black Child to go and jam 50 in the studio while he waited in the lounge, since he was on crutches after breaking his ankle.
Big room, the number 1 room is in the Hit Factory, huge room. And Rule's like, he's here. He's here. Rule had crutches. He was on MTV. I think he did something on jet skis and messed his ankle up. So he had crutches. His ankle's messed up. And he's like, who's here? He's like, 50. He's here. He's in the building. He's like, and I want to get him. Let's get him now. This is Rule. The end of the day, we're sitting there. I'm trying to keep, Irv is doing the talking with Rule, and he's trying to keep a level head with Rule. Like, what are you worried about? Let's do what we do. And then it hit him like, he asked Irv a question. The question was, you not riding with me? And you riding with me? You ain't riding with me? Yeah. And that's when all I seen Irv do was unbuckle his watch. And I knew what that was, so that was it.
Yeah, what's beef? Know what I mean? Beef is when you see a nigga in the studio or wherever, and the nigga want to talk, and niggas was like, nah, ain't nothing to talk about, right? It's like 5 of us and 5 of them, and niggas is getting it on and fighting and bond. Some way, somehow, the lights got hit off, and niggas was getting it on in the dark. It wasn't like nobody hit the snitch like niggas is gangster and niggas hit the switch. Know what I mean? But I felt the gap was in the area and niggas was reaching for it. Know what I mean? And I wasn't letting nobody get to their gun to pop me. Know what I mean? So I started poking niggas straight up and down. And that's the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
We get back to New York City. And again, we're in the Hit Factory, and I hear from a mutual friend that he's upstairs in a studio upstairs. And it got a little violent, a couple of people were stabbed. Went up there, found him in his room, turned off the lights, blew with a bolt, you know what I'm saying? Gave the nigga the business, nigga stabbed him, we did what we had to do to him. He's up, and my man Black Child put in that work. What up, Black? You know what I'm saying? That's what it is, nigga. I had a crutch, I was going across the nigga head with a crutch, real crazy. But anyway, he was curled up in the corner like a little shit, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Niggas just dropping speakers on his head, all type of shit.
50 managed to run out, got home, and let his grandmother take care of his wounds. The next day, he went to the hospital just in case of an infection, where he got 4 stitches and a bottle of antibiotics. The DJ, who was just an outsider to the whole beef, also got stabbed in the back, so when police showed up, he didn't hesitate to file a report.
Lawyers let us know. Niggas was pressing charges. Niggas said that I stabbed them, and then I stabbed a few people and all that. They gave a statement on me. That's the statement that's floating around. That some people don't think it's a real document, but it's a real document.
Subsequently, a restraining order was issued, preventing Irv and Chris Gotti from meeting all the victims of the incident, which also included 50, who never talked to the police in the first place. The order of protection made Murder Inc. and Supreme think that 50 was working with the police and not living up to the street code. Irv and Chris both got arrested, but were quickly released after 50 didn't show up to the court. Murder Inc. and Supreme deemed 50 as a snitch, and now they had paperwork to back that up. While the papers only featured his name and nothing else, it was more than enough for people to jump the gun and put a label on 50.
I'm holding in my hand, I'm gonna leave with you, man, is an order of protection. An order of protection for Irving Lorenzo to stay away from Curtis Jackson. That's 50, y'all. AKA 50, AKA informant, AKA I'm telling.
He's a clown for denying it. For denying, because like anybody that really want to dig is going to find out it's true. So how you going to deny a fact? I had called my lawyer and said, yo, send me a copy over them. And we started letting the copy circulate to expose what type of person this, what type of individual 50 is, because he running around portraying a thug and all that. See, if he was rapping about club music and itchy eye, yeah, and some party jump off, he'd be cool, but you can't talk like a gangster and you a snitch.
Where I'm from, the worst thing you can actually be is a snitch. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna call you the worst possible thing when you reach where I'm at. The people that, I can remember having about 6, maybe 8 people dislike me, and it was all from Murder Inc.'s camp. All the new people that feel like they dislike me, they dislike the success that I'm having. The discomfort of watching me be repeatedly successful in front of them has made them grow angry with me, you know? So when they say it, if I'm a snitch, well, I snitched on them. As far as the altercation that took place in the Hit Factory, because that's what you was making reference to when you said that. I'm not in control of.
Oh my God. Big screen. Thank God 50's words right there was, they say I'm a snitch. Who did I snitch on? He didn't say. They say I'm a snitch. Who did I put in jail? Thank God he said the correct thing. If y'all know this channel, y'all know how sick I've been over the years of people justifying that they're not snitches because somebody didn't go to jail. Oh my God. Oh, thank you, 50. My heart was about to drop right there while I was watching this. I was like, wait, I don't remember this. I've definitely seen all the Sub-Zero DVDs back then. I was like, wait, I don't remember this. Is he about to say some Wild King Yeller type shit? No, 50, don't do it.
Over everybody in the room. They was expecting me to be in control over the DJ that I wasn't actually paying at that point. Like there was no finances. This is why I got spanked. You see what I'm saying? And you get spanked at that point because your money ain't right, and you go into altercation. The gangsters side with the weakest party all the time. You know why? Because they control them. They asked Ja to piece it down, so he sat down. He's less than a man for him.
Supreme was irritated by the whole situation between 50 and Ja Rule, but while he never liked 50, these snitching allegations made Preem resent him more than ever. Unfortunately for 50, the target on his back was also bigger than ever, and his next release became a final nail in the coffin. The song by 50 Cent, called Ghetto Quran, leaked on the internet before its intended drop on July 4th, with 50's debut album Power of the Dollar, and the timing of it couldn't get any worse. A couple of weeks before its leak, Supreme was the target of a shootout at a gas station, for which he blamed 50, and despite getting away alive and well, he was looking over his shoulder more than usual. With Supreme's guard up, 50's song leaks on the internet, in which he name drops all the big drug dealers and kingpins in Queens, past and present, who were still fully, or at least partially active in the streets.
Team, see niggas feared Prince and respected Preem. For you slow motherfuckers, I'ma break it down illa. Supreme was the businessman and Prince was the killer. Remember? He used to push the bulletproof BM, His head get you seasick. I sat back and peeped shit. They wrote with Easy Water then. They get blunted. Had the whole projects working for 50 or 500 as a youth. All I ever did was sell crack. I used to idolize Cat. Hurt me to my heart to hear that nigga snitched on Pat. How you go out like that? Rumors in the hood was just for snitching. I ain't believe that, Paul. He only caught my first GSXR, had the 4 and the Z, the 5 and the 3.
50 intended to pay homage to the street legends that he looked up to and show love to the queens, but unfortunately, taking in the circumstances
they ain't take it like
at the
that.
time, Supreme and others took it differently than it was intended to be. They considered that he was snitching, airing out the street business, and cooperating with the police, which would ultimately get people in trouble.
As far as the crime was concerned, even when the Quran came out, everybody that was on the record was cool with the record. They knew what it was about. It was like Corey D writing a dedication rhyme. You know what I'm saying? In the neighborhood at that point. And this is all about previous activity. It's not nothing about things they could actually be convicted for or, tried on in that situation at that point.
When they put the Quran in, they mentioned how many times that their name were in records in the documentary. And it was cool every time that their name was in records, but they was upset with the version that I did. And they wouldn't say nothing to me, though. They go, nah, like when I seen him, he didn't say nothing, he didn't have a problem with the record. Then he had a problem later when law enforcement started to hold on to the record. And they're not holding the record because of what I said on it. Because they already got a separate homicide that you're sitting in here on. They already got your tapes and the dope that you got caught with in Baltimore. So what they're really holding you to is the fact that I didn't say nothing when I got hit. So they're saying he's associated to this thing with this kid, and this is why they keep bringing that into this actual case. Remember all of the snitch you, this is now, that's the worst thing you can be in the environment that I come up in, right? Where the snitch at in the documentary? I'm not in that case. So there's no snitch there, right?
The interesting part about Ghetto Quran is that it's rumored that Supreme himself was included in the initial version of the track, had a line or two in the intro, and initially green-lighted the song. Despite all of it, the final release didn't feature any of his vocals, and he voiced his opinion on numerous occasions, stating that he saw the song as 50 dry snitching the street business.
You talked about a lot of the hustlers in Queens.
Yeah, the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know, but DJs would get beat up for playing the record. Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, all day. Like if you played it, DJs would
certain spots,
they would call and be like, don't play that record. Yeah, that's how crazy it was back then.
Not only that, but despite ruined street cred, no recording studio in the United States would take him in to record. Regardless, Supreme, after years of 50's recklessness, finally had enough of it, and with more than enough reasons to do something about it, he decided to finally put it all to the end. In fear of 50 getting him locked up or ruining his business by not keeping his mouth shut, Supreme ordered Daryl Homo Baum to shoot and kill 50 for $20,000.
Right behind me is my grandmother's home. I came out like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, May 24th. She was bent over, actually planting flowers in the garden, and I walked over here to sit in the actual vehicle that my friend was waiting for me in, and the car pulled up. On the side of us, a guy got out the passenger seat of that car, came around behind it, and shot through the actual car.
I didn't feel threatened after the actual situation. When you're in those
That
situations,
nigga likes saying the word
under those
actual, don't he?
either you, either your feelings
actual.
And you hurt that bad. See, when somebody halfway kill you, it hurt. When they kill you, it don't look like it hurt. Like they're gone. They're not even in there. It look like they're not there. So I don't know what it feels like to die, but it doesn't look like it hurts as much as a hospital bed. But what I did learn was after I assessed the situation, because I spent a lot of time thinking about it afterwards, and then I started to realize how weak they actually were, because I always saw about 20 or 30 people with them. And they all be dressed in black and say, "We the murderers." And then when the shooting took place, it wasn't none of those 30 people. You see what I mean? So it made me feel like all those guys are looking for an opportunity to get out of the actual hood, and they're not actually hood. Because if there was really that, they would have took the opportunity to make the few dollars and just shot me. Like the guy who shot me today.
You eventually knew who your attempted
Who the shooter? Yeah.
shooter was?
The guy who shot me died like 2 weeks later. Yeah, from Brooklyn.
And you knew who sent him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so...
I mean, I know who I had issues with, so, you know, I wasn't there for a conversation or the financial transaction.
Well, the nigga that shot me dead. What you want me to do? You know, the nigga that sent him to shoot me in jail. He got life.
But despite the attempt on his life, 50 not only managed to
clearly
survive and
just
come back
said it.
stronger than ever, but continued to shape and dominate the hip-hop scene in the 2000s, forever establishing his name in hip-hop as one of the most influential rappers of the decade.
The positive was getting signed to Shady Aftermath.
Yeah, but then getting signed to...
I mean, how much clearer does he need to say it? The nigga that shot me from Brooklyn and he's dead, and the nigga that sent him is in prison. Like, how much more clear do you need to be? Remember when we first went over this, when Irv first passed, and I said, wait, before we jump out the window on 50's posts, maybe we disagree, but he himself might be justified. And we pulled up footage of like Supreme on stage with Ja Rule and everybody when they was performing. That was their movement. That's another reason why I think a lot of people respect 50 back then. It's the same thing that Tony Yayo said in the MEO interview, where he was just like, yo, Preem came and did the whole, and he did it right back to Preem. It's like, oh, you did that to Preem? It's like, you're going to bump into people like that. They come up like that. They young, 12 years old, he's out there pumping and going to boxing classes and whatnot and holding his little corners down and shit. You're going to bump into people that's going to say, there's 2 of us, there's 10 of y'all, and I don't give a fuck. You're going to bump into people like that. You know what I'm saying? And I think we've always respected him for that. Because what he went up against at that time is like, he was on the side of lesser, right? If the hood is being controlled by Preem and these niggas, and they're the stronghold, and you're saying, first of all, I'm over here. Like, think about Big U and Nipsey Hussle. We see the videos and the documentaries of their relationship going back and forth. Even after that shooting that happened where they all got locked up, you know, there's footage of them after that together in the studio together, or Nipsey shouting Big U out on songs, or after that. So Big U's whatever's going on, and for whatever reason, Nipsey still allow himself to go back and forth with Big U. We have a fight, we cool again. We get arrested together, you try to DP me, we cool again. Or I'm at your function, or you're in the studio with me, or, you know, and maybe at times, just a guess, maybe at times Nipsey felt like I maybe don't really fuck with him, and I do want to break away. I don't like how he's leading my movement. You know what I'm saying? And he has some of that type of shit in his lyrics. But other times it might be like, you know, it's easier for us to just get along, right? Just like a million other people that Big U sat next to that probably was uncomfortable with him. It's better for us to get along, right? And maybe even with Ja Rule in them, like that's what 50 always looked at Ja Rule for, like the nigga that was controllable, the puppet, the nigga that was. And I think Ja Rule get active. You know what I'm saying? I respect Ja Rule, I really do. But back then, that was the picture that was painted of Ja Rule, not just because he was singing on hooks, you know. And I know a lot of that is bias, is coming from 50, but you know, it looks like this whole movement over here, you're being pushed to the front by these street niggas behind you, and 50 is over here saying, fuck all y'all, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? And we started the stream like, damn, 50, like, you're losing your perception at the age 49. You don't need to be doing some of this trolling and or put it this way, this is how I'm going to end out. This is where I stand now. I did make myself feel a little bit more indifferent while watching that documentary. And I will say, you know, I'm just not mad at 50 Cent for his antics directed towards anybody from Murder Inc. or anybody that had anything to do with all those past beefs, because I didn't even see that clip before. If Irv Gotti's sitting there laughing, talking about, yeah, I was blocking him so much he had to fall in with. I never even saw that before. It's like, remember in that last stream, I brought up the Dave Chappelle shit. They said, you know, trying to stop somebody from eating is akin to killing them. Okay? That's a bar. You need food to live. Food, to double the bar on that, food, money, right? So for Irv to be laughing at that, to be trying to kill this man, metaphorically, and then I also believe literally y'all same niggas is trying to kill me. Then I also believe y'all was involved in the killing of my mother, to the point where he depicted it in the damn movie, Get Rich or Die Trying. They depicted it. That Supreme killed his mother, all of that. You know, it's 50. All right, fuck it. I'm just going to make a decision, a flat out decision. 50 is justified with them. Would I do it? No. But I'm not 50 Cent. We're different. If I had beef with somebody and I felt like I don't give a fuck about them at that level, if they died, I'd probably just be quiet. Maybe in my mind, I don't know. I'm not going to say what's going through my mind, right? But I'm not going to go post yeah, I'm smoking on a such and such pack. I ain't going to do that. But 50 Cent is justified. And they're justified too. If something happened to 50 and Ja Rule do that, Ja Rule might feel like he's justified. You know, I won't be that mad at, like, nigga, you did this to my brother that died 5 years ago. Now it's your turn. I won't be mad at Ja Rule. You know, all the other shit though, nah, 50, you gotta slow down. Like, go put out the Tammy documentary or slow this shit down. Oh man, I'm gonna leave it like that, man. Happy Friday, fun stream. That was a great documentary. If anybody wants to watch some of the chapters that we skipped through, like the whole come up, you know, just rewind. We showed on the screen where we went and pulled that one from. So shout out to them. But all right, y'all, we be back. I'll probably see y'all tomorrow morning, a little bit later, because it's a Saturday or Sunday. Let a brother get a few hours extra sleep. But we working. All right.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss making decisions, my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry True Podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members.
Without, I think still got a gun.